All right, we're going to do systems of linear equations. We're going to do what's called substitution and elimination. We're on the third section of chapter 3. Let's get started. All right, so last week we talked about a solution here with two lines. So if we had a line that came in and it didn't cross on the grid, it crossed somewhere in the center, it would be really difficult for you to guess where that crossed. And guessing is not what we do in algebra most of the time. We guess maybe to make an educated guess, and then we verify it with some kind of procedure. But just guessing the answer for that one would be, we could get close, but we wouldn't know precise. And algebra is a precise thing, not something we just guess at. So we need something else. Those ones you were doing all along always crossed on the grid. They were on nice integers. They weren't at these decimals. So we need something else. We need a different method to do this. So here we're going to do, here's our first method. One's called substitution. Most of the time, the best way to pick for substitution is if we have a variable already solved for. For example, this top one has y equals in it. Right here. Y equals already by itself. To do substitution, what we do is we now know a new name for y. Y is negative 3x plus 18. So in this y, in this other equation, we're going to substitute in negative 3x plus 18. Is this familiar to anyone? Okay. So here we go. So I'm going to bring down this negative 2x. I'm going to bring down the 7, but in the place of the y, I'm going to plug in a negative 3x plus 18. Equals what?
11. Y. 11?
We brought down the 2x, we brought down the plus, we brought down the 7. We have the y, now we have the equal and the 11. Does that make sense now? Good job. Okay, please ask me questions. I want to know that you don't understand so I can answer them. Now this is just your algebra that we were doing a couple weeks ago, right? We just distribute and solve. So you guys tell me when you're done.
I'll have my calculator.
I don't need a calculator.
There you go.
Okay. I don't need it.
Just do the problem.
I don't need no calculator.
What's 7 times 18, guys? 150,
126.
126?
Never mind.
Yes, 126.
Yes.
And 11. And then I'm going to bring those together. And I'll have negative 23.
I got x equals 5.
X. What's 11 minus 126? 100, negative 100 and...
I added the 11 over to the other side
15.
and added the negative 115.
Yes, it is. Okay.
Yes, it is.
So then I'm going to divide by the negative
I
23.
did that in my head, though, Heidi. I didn't.
Okay, I'm not sure if it's wrong.
And then you got 5, Naraya? Someone's going to verify that?
1 second.
So we're trying to find where these lines cross so we are not finished. We need to plug back in, and I'm going to suggest that you plug back into this one,
The y equals.
the y equals. We're going to plug a 5 back in there, and this is too big. I don't have room. So we're going to go y equals negative 3 times positive 5 plus 18.
Oh, so we actually do the top equation, but we put 5 in
That's
for
correct.
the x.
That's correct.
And then we circle that, the equation?
Put it as an ordered pair, x comma y, like we did when you were solving them by
What?
graphing last week.
Okay.
So what did I got? Negative 15
Oh,
plus 18. So y equals what?
3.
That's what I got. So our answer is going to be an ordered pair. What always comes first?
So
X or
5,
y?
3.
5, comma 3.
Oh, yuck.
So we're going to plug in. We're going to plug in that negative 3x minus 11. Be very careful with this. 5x, and don't forget this minus right here. When we plug that in, we're going to have negative 3x minus 11 equals what?
Negative 5.
Yes, negative 5. What am I going to do with this negative that's in front of the distributive property here?
Imagine it as a 1.
Yes, imagine it as a negative 1, and we're going to give it to each of them. So we're going to have 5x.
And then would that be plus?
Yes, it would. 3x. And then
Plus 3x plus 11?
very good, equals negative 5. I'm behind, you guys. Bring that over. Is going to
I
be
got negative 2 as well.
x equals negative 16, right?
Has anyone to the order pair yet?
Yeah, I got -2, -5.
I agree.
This
I
is
agree.
my fast handwriting.
So then I'm not finished with that -2. You guys already put it in, and it's easier to put it in the one that's solved up here. So we're going to have that -3 times -2 plus, or minus, excuse me, 11.
What's your order pair? 3, -3?
That's going to be -6, positive 6 minus 11. What'd you guys get?
For what?
For y on number 3.
-5. Wait.
Yes. So I got -2, comma -5. All right, let's move on to number 5. I'm going to have to get some room. I have a lot of stuff going on here.
You can just erase it.
I could. You guys ready for me to erase? I could erase it. It's just start up there with number 5. All right. Gonna clear the screen. All right. Now, this one does not have a y equal or an x equal, but there's one of them that we can solve very easily. The second one for y, because there is nothing in front. Might be times when it would be something in front of an x, or so we have an x and a y in both equations to choose from. And this one, so what are we going to do with the 2x?
Y equals -2x plus 14.
Yes. So we're going to go y equals, I'm going to change colors just because I want to. Y equals -2x plus,
It's not coming up on the board.
I know, I'm sorry. There we go. It's coming. There we go. Now what do we do with this?
Dude, the thing inside the
Now we
thing.
replace
Yes.
it in-
Plug this one back into the top one, right? In the place of the y
So
in
all
front of the
you
5.
do is turn the bottom one into slope intercept.
Exactly what we did. We solved for
Can
y.
you do it with the top one as well?
You could have, but then there would have been a fraction because you needed to divide, and I don't want to do
So
that.
just
I don't
do
want
the easiest one.
just the easiest one. Yeah, exactly. Do the easiest one. And sometimes, Isaac, that's not solving for y. Sometimes that's solving for x. If there would have been a 2 in front of that y and nothing in front of this x, you would have moved the y over and solved for x.
Okay. And it would have been the same thing. I would have gotten the y and the x. And
Yeah, and then you'll plug into the x instead of the y. That's right. So we have 3x minus 5 times -2x plus 14 equals what?
5 times 14.
Yeah, 21. What is 5 times 14?
70.
20. 70?
Mhm.
70? Okay.
Yes.
-70.
Yes. Plus 10x. Don't forget this 10 plus 10x. Pot -70. $91.
13 divided by 91.
Does 13 go into 91?
You mean 91 divided into 13?
Yeah.
Divided by? Mm-hmm.
Has anyone to the order pair yet? No.
What's 91 divided by 13? What is it?
7.
7. Okay, fantastic. All right, so 7. I got the x value correct.
I want to make sure I got that right because, yeah.
Now, what do we plug it into, though? What do we plug that x in for?
We can just plug into the thing that we made.
Yeah, exactly right. The one we made, right there. That's right. This one down here. You can plug it into any one, by the way. I'm not telling you the one you have to plug it into. I'm telling you the one that's the easiest. What did you guys get for y?
Not the right answer.
0.
That's what I got. I'm waiting to have everybody catch up. And your answer is what, comma what?
7, 0.
Yes.
You already have.
All right, we had 2 methods we were going to learn today. One of them was substitution. We just did it. Now we're going to learn something called elimination. Your worksheets are going to call them elimination, but I want you to know that other textbooks call it something else. Not always. Some call it elimination. Others call it linear combination. I personally like to say only one word. I'm a minimalist. I like to have just simple stuff, okay? So this one, I think that most students actually like this one better than others, but there are times when you will need to use the substitution, and there is times when you'll need to use elimination. So it's not like you can just always do one or the other. There's times when you're going to need to know both of the methods. Number 9, as you can see, there's not anything that's actually easy to solve for. There's not a y all by itself or an x all by itself. So this one would lend itself to elimination. And if you look here, one of them has a negative 9y and a positive 9y. So if I added them, what would happen to that negative 9y and the 9y? They would cancel each other out, okay? And then we'll add everything else. If we add one piece, we're going to add them all. So that negative 9x plus 2x is how much?
Negative 7x.
Yes. Bring down that equal from above. Negative 27 and negative 22 negative 49. Can anybody guess what we're going to do next?
It's just algebra.
Divide, yep, just algebra. Divide by negative 7. And x in this case is going to be how much?
7.
Positive 7. Are we finished?
No.
No, because, all right, now, how are we going to find y?
Plug it into the simplest of the equations.
Plug it into the simplest of the equations, and you might think that someone else isn't simpler than you. It's going to be
For me, I
I'm
like
avoiding
this.
the negatives.
Yeah, I like the positive 9
Y-
and it
the bottom one.
positive y, and it also has a smaller negative or a greater negative, whatever you put.
You want the bottom one or the top one?
The bottom one.
Okay, because they're mostly positive. So she wants this one down here.
I just do
The
it.
2x plus 9y equals negative 22. So I actually, you don't have to, I'm writing it down here. 2x plus 9y equals negative 22. We chose that one, right? And we're going to plug in the x where? The 7 in 4.
So it's 2 times 7.
Yeah, I like to just write the 14. I move over the 14. So I'm going to have a negative 22. I'm going to subtract the 14.
yeah.
What's negative 22 minus 14? Yeah, I didn't get a fraction either.
It's negative
I got
36.
negative
20
36.
it's
and
I got-
then-
negative 22.
Negative 36.
No, it's negative 36, and
Yes.
I divided both by 9,
Oh,
and I got.
I know, but yeah, I see what I did wrong. I did
It's
it
4.
wrong.
I got 7 comma negative 4.
Yeah, I see what
I
I did.
got negative 4.
Negative 4.
Yeah, I got negative 4. So my ordered pair is 7 comma.
Negative 4.
So these aren't hard, they're just long.
That's correct.
Alright.
That's dumb.
Next.
Let's go number
Short.
11.
Yep.
Let's go number 11. 11 isn't like number 9. Number 9 had something that canceled all right away. Number 11,
Wait, it
something doesn't
does.
cancel right away.
It is.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I have a negative and a negative, and those combine. So what can I do to make this cancel?
I
Multiply by
switched
negative.
everything.
Multiply everything by a negative. Do you want to multiply the top equation or the bottom
I'm
equation?
gonna multiply the bottom. Because
The bottom
four is
equation.
smaller than the 7.
All right, so you said the bottom one? So
Yeah.
that'll make that a positive, that a negative, and that a negative. And the 0 is not really a negative, so I'm not going to even write it. So then I'm going to draw my line. Now I can add, like before. Something does cancel.
Wait, divide everything by negative 1?
Multiply them.
It's the same. It's going to have the same effect. But yes, multiply everything by negative 1. But the reason I didn't write the 0 as the negative because 0 can't be negative.
So 0 comma 0.
So then,
I'm not.
add those y's, what do you get?
Um, 3.
I got 3y equals 0. So y equals how much?
0.
Okay. Are we finished?
No.
For my ordered pair, I used the equation that I did not. So like I used the bottom equation and I multiplied everything by negative 1, but I just used the original equation.
Yes. So you use the negative 8x plus 4y.
I just used the original equation.
That's perfectly acceptable. You could have used the top equation also. It doesn't matter which one, and you could have used the one we multiplied by the negated one, if you want to call it that. The positive 8x minus 4y equals 0 also.
Isn't it just going to be 0, 0? Because
It's not going to be 0, 0.
Yes, it is.
How's it
Oh, it is going to be. It
everything
is going to
equals
be.
0?
It is. My bad. It is. So I'm going to plug that in. It'll be negative 8x, just so you can verify. That's going to become 0 right there. That goes away. And x is going to be 0. So you are right. It is going to be 0,
Looks like a little bit.
comma 0. I think it looks like an owl. You put a little ears there.
And now I see no.
And a little,
So
you
cute.
could do
Just
kitty.
like,
Oh, right there.
you
You
guys.
have a little beak. All right, number 13. We're skipping several of them. Now, 13 doesn't have the same number that we can cancel something out. But we can multiply by a number to cause some things to cancel out. So we could make this x's cancel by multiplying the top by a 2. We could make the y's cancel by multiplying the bottom by a negative 2. So you're going to choose what you want to do.
The top one.
Okay, so we're going to multiply the top. If I'm going to multiply by a 2, I have to multiply everything by 2, not just one thing. So I have to do a distributive property there.
No.
So I'm going to have a negative 16x, a negative 4y, and what's 28 times 2? 54. 56, thank you. Now my x's will cancel out. I'm going to have negative 5y equals
30.
30. Y equals how much?
Negative 6.
I agree. I like starting my ordered pair right then. Coming over here and putting my negative 6 in for y. I'm going to plug the negative 6 in for y in
I put it in the
bottom one because it's no
Correct.
multiplying there. So 16x minus a negative 6, which is plus 6, equals negative 26.
I give up.
Move that over there. That'll be a 16x equals negative 32.
I'm gonna use the top equation.
Which would be x equals -2.
X equals negative 2.
How did you get -2, -6?
All right. We've done two things in this lesson. We learned how to do substitution and we learned how to do elimination, which is also called linear combination. Yours will always ask you to do elimination, but you need to know that when you get to higher levels of math, they might ask you to use linear combination. It's the same thing, okay? All right, we're done. Goodbye.
That when they asked me to do it again.